Welcome back to VFX for the Indie Filmmaker. In this module, I'm gonna kind of quickly go over doing some of the effects I used in After Effects. I'm not gonna go in-depth because it's a pretty in-depth tutorial. It's kind of a tutorial on itself, but I am just gonna highlight everything I did and then show you how I did the final comps in Silhouette. So if you'd like a in-depth tutorial, let me know and I'll shoot one out. For these shots at the end of the video, when I had a magic in it, it was actually pretty simple. What I did was I pre-comped all the background elements, so it was just one single file, so it was pretty quick. And the only thing I made sure I did, and this is kind of the importance of pre-planning some of your FX shots, is when I exported my Blender renders, I added an additional light over here on the side, just flickering, so it kind of mimicked that flash from the magic I was going to add. But after that, all I really used was pre-built assets from, I believe, Triune Digital I used. And all they were these little flashing orbs. And what I did was I just color graded it, just changed the hue of it, and added a little blur to soften it up a little bit since it was off in the distance. And I didn't use Mocha Pro to track and assign it to like a pin or anything. I just hand animated it, the position right here in After Effects. So it was just easier and quick because it's a pretty quick shot. They're only like 2 seconds long each. I brought just a quick raw footage of the actresses and the artists so I could see what was going on and kind of do my animation around it. And the whole concept was they're going to be pulling magic from these orbs, and that's why those orbs are moving like that, because it's kind of pulling magic to them. So the first thing I did was add an additional little orb on her hand following that, and again just hand animated it, the XY position in After Effects, so it was just following her hand. Then I added these other assets that were also from Triune Digital, and all they are is just simple beam assets. And I made sure I marked it, I put it in the 3D world and kind of eyeballed it so it looked like it was kind of coming towards the actress from that distant place. So nothing special. And again, all I did on that one was just cut, copy, and paste that hue and the blur on it. So I had the hue and the blur. And the only thing that's really different about these is for the actual magic, what I did was this one, is I used puppets, and I placed a pin on her hand, a pin in the middle, and a pin on the light, and just, again, hand animated where the pins were going. This one to follow her hand, this one stayed still, and this one to follow this little lantern. So that was it for actually animating and bending that magic, because I wanted it to bend. I didn't want it to just be straight. I wanted it to kind of be a little fluid. And I did the same thing with a second beam on top. Exact same thing. Just hand animated it with puppet pins. So it kind of followed that. And the only other thing I really did was it just looked a little bland in the background, so I added just kind of some turbulent noise to make it look like there's kind of like heat coming off from those beams to kind of displace the background a little bit. that was it. And then once I was finished with that, I hid the actresses, and I exported actually all this as one file and brought it into Silhouette and comped out the rest of it. And I did the same thing for the Blue Magic side. Everything's exactly the same. And of course, After Effects is a little slow, but that's the Blue Magic. And the this one was a little different. The only thing that was, well, kind of different about it was I did have magic on top of their hands as well as behind their hands. You can see I had the magic going behind their hands and then placed these orbs kind of in front. And everything else was the same. Puppet pen tools to animate it, and that was it. And this one I did export out as individual elements. So in Silhouette, I exported out the beams themselves. So you got the beams, the animated beams, the background by itself. And again, the only thing I made sure I did is when I exported it in Blender, I added these additional lights so they're flickering, so you can kind of see those flickering in the background and on the floor itself. So I could really get that effect. And it was kind of lighting up this haze that's in there as well. And I know my fire is a little slow. I made my fire in a Houdini and kind of forgot to change the speed of it. So it's a little slow, but I kind of like the effect of it anyway, so I just left it. I didn't re-render them all out and place because what I did was I exported the VDB files and brought them into Blender and just copied and pasted them all and just changed the timing of them so they looked a little different. Anywho, moving on. These are the front little magic orbs brought out from After Effects. And the only thing I really did in comping here that was a little different is I didn't like, once I color graded them, she was mostly orange from those sconce lights in the background. So the blue light I had over here flickering, the actual practical blue light, it didn't really show up. It was on, but it didn't really show up. So, and I tried to pull it out in color grading, but I really couldn't pull that blue out. So what I did is I separated it, did another color correction, just changed it cooler and blue. I rotoscope, just made a quick circle around her and marked it so it was just multiplying it, and I blurred it out a lot. So when you comp them together, you can see that blue kind of washing, like flickering and washing out some of that orange, so it looks like that magic is actually shining on her a little bit. So that's the only thing I really did that was different. And of course on everything I added a motion blur and a blur, because you know I don't like those clean 3D images. The only difference from our previous tutorial in Silhouette is when you have footage like this and you need to screen it out, you need to use a math composite instead of just a straight composite, and just mark it as screen or add, or however you're trying to composite it together. But yeah, you have to use a math composite once you're bringing these in. So I composited all those together and all those together, so we had that. And the only thing that was really missing was a little environmental light, which, you know, I kind of like my flares going, so I added one to the to the blue magic, and one to the orange magic. So our final look was that right there. So, and it was pretty simple, time consuming, but fairly easy to get a really decent VFX shot nothing but a straight, cheap green screen shot. That's it for VFX, and in the next module, as I said in the last module, we're actually going to get into finalizing everything in DaVinci Resolve and then delivering, and then we'll have final thoughts. So see you in the next module. If you like this video and would like access to the full course, you can visit my Payhit page, link in the description. For only $26, you're getting access to 6 hours of instructional video, as well as access to footage, Blender project files, and other pre-production file downloads. The VFX for the Indie Filmmaker course covers complete instruction from pre-production to project delivery and includes modules such as keying and compositing, creating and rendering 3D sets, and everything else you'll need to know to go from charging hundreds of dollars per project to thousands of dollars per project.